battle.
They didn't obey the order of the Prophet.
They didn't obey the order of the Prophet ﷺ. You know the archers, huh? They left the spaces and they moved away because they thought the battle was over and the Muslims had won and they could see the booty, etc. They could see the kuffar recede. So they said, khalas, it's finished now. So they left their positions. Some remained and most of them moved. And how many Sahaba were martyred in this battle? Do you know? La? No, how many were martyred? How many shuhada? 70. Many people who knew Quran were martyred in this battle. Mus'ab ibn Umair, you know him? The first teacher of Quran in Medina. This lovely example of a companion who gave up everything he had, radiallahu anh, so that he could follow Allah and His Rasul. He was the best dressed in Makkah and his mother doted. You know the story of Mus'ab, huh? He was the best dressed. He gave up everything. He was killed in this battle. And of course, as the Prophet ﷺ is going through the battlefield and is picking up the shuhada, he comes across his uncle who was killed, Hamza. May Allah be pleased with him. And his body was mutilated. You know who killed Hamza? Wahshi. And what was Wahshi going to get if he killed Hamza? His freedom. From whom? Hind. Who was Hind? MashaAllah, you're all professors here of the seerah. So he comes across the body of Hamza, and here's his uncle, mutilated, killed in battle, fiercely led the Muslim army. And this is a battle which, according to most accounts, went completely against the plan of the Prophet ﷺ. You can call it a strategic defeat for the Muslim army. Not so. A strategic defeat. At that time, in Khalid bin Walid, who was still non-Muslim, remember, he saw the archers leave and he attacked the Muslim army from behind and 70 people were killed. And he gives the title of Sayyid Ash-Shuhada to Hamza in a battle that was, for all reasons, a complete disaster. So what is the leadership principle here? Embrace imperfections. You see, you can't always have excellence in the best of situations. You will find excellence even in very bad situations. But as a leader, you need to tune your ear and mind and heart for you to look for excellence even in very imperfect situations. No modern leadership theory will teach you this. He gives the best title. What does Sayyid al-Shuhada mean? The leader of the martyrs in a battle where we lost. You don't call it a defeat. No. In that battle, he says he is Sayyid al-Shuhada. So as a leader, look for success and excellence even when the context is imperfect. Even when the context is a losing context. Look for good in things. Look for good in people. So embrace imperfections is the fifth principle. Quickly tell me the first principle. You see, some of you are sleeping. As-salatu khayrun minan. What is the first principle? Start with yourself, introspect. Now. Hope for change. Now. Temper the power. Technical competence. You must know the area in which you work. Even if you're da'iyah, you have to know all of the dynamics. You have to know the dynamics in the communities. You have to study the people. You have to know the literature. You must be technically competent, because sincerity on its own is not enough. Was Yusuf alayhi salam sincere? Of course. He was a Rasul of Allah. But sincerity is not enough. Technical competence. Right. Okay, fourth one. What's the fifth one? Embrace imperfection. Looks for excellence even when the situation is imperfect. You see, you know the incident of Mu'adh bin Jabal. He was posted to Yemen by the Prophet ﷺ. Remember? Towards the end of the Prophet ﷺ's mission in Medina, he asked Mu'adh to be the governor, qadi of the people of Yemen in the southern part of the peninsula. And this is a lovely example. If you read the seerah and you see that Mu'adh bin Jabal is on his horse and the Prophet ﷺ is walking the horse of Mu'adh out of Medina. And as he is walking Mu'adh out, he's giving Mu'adh the final instructions. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What a beautiful example. You don't sit on a high throne and instruct everybody. You are personally involved. The Prophet's style, leadership style, was a hands-on style. So he's walking Mu'adh out, and Mu'adh is sitting on his horse. And he says to Mu'adh, "Oh Mu'adh, how will you judge over the people of Yemen?" And Mu'adh begins to respond. He's getting his final assessment from the Prophet ﷺ for his technical competence. How will you judge, O Mu'adh? And Mu'adh says, "I will consider the book of Allah." And if you do not find it in there, O Mu'adh, what would you do? What did Mu'adh say? "I will look at your tradition." And O Mu'adh, if you do not find it there, what will you do? He will then look at the consensus among the learned. And if you do not find it there, Mu'adh, what would you do? "I will then apply my mind." Ijtihad, right? Qiyas, or whatever you want to call it. So he is going through this discussion with Mu'adh. Then he says to Mu'adh, "Oh Mu'adh, it may be that when you return to Medina, you will not find me." Allahu Akbar. "You will pass by this masjid and you may pass by my grave." And Mu'adh begins to cry. Radiallahu anhu. He's getting the final marching orders from the Prophet ﷺ. He's getting an assessment as the new judge and qadi and governor of Yemen. And he is also told in that final assessment that this is the last time, O Mu'adh, you will see me. This is not any ordinary leader. This is the one whom Mu'adh and other Sahaba, they saw revelation descend on the Prophet ﷺ. They knew in battle the angels were assisting them in Badr. They could see here was not just a leader and an imam. This was Khatamun Nabiyyin. And this is his last chance to be with the Prophet ﷺ. Mu'adh, what does he do? He doesn't say, "Oh Prophet of Allah, don't send me to Yemen. Let me stay with you." La. He proceeds to Yemen. And when Mu'adh returns, what does he find? The grave of the Prophet ﷺ. Exactly as he was told. But what is the leadership lesson here? Have clear decision-making filters. Mu'adh understood his mission. He was focused on his mission. He knew what were the sources of knowledge. He would go to the Quran and the Hadith, etc., etc., until he had to apply his mind finally using all those other sources. And he knew that this was his last physical contact with the Prophet of Allah. He still proceeded with his mission. Have clear decision-making filters and remain steadfast on the course. Don't lead when the waters are calm only. That's not a good captain, as they say. If you can captain a ship during a storm, then you prove your captaincy. Not so. So have clear decision-making filters. Understand your mission and remain focused on your mission irrespective of the difficulties you will face along the way. Everybody okay? What leadership principle is this? What number? طيب. You're going to remember the 6, inshallah. Can we go on a few more minutes? Okay. This is an ayah of the Quran in the 16th chapter. An-Nahl is the chapter. And you'll see this end of the ayah, which is what I want to talk about. Allah talks about this in many places. فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Allah is saying what? Travel through the land and see what was the end of those who denied, who rejected the signs of Allah. قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. There's many parts of the Quran you will find Allah give this instruction. So travel, brothers and sisters. Be leaders who have an ear on the ground, a finger on the pulse. Know the environment. Know the history of the environment. Understand the people, understand their history. So develop this reflective mindset. This is one of the most difficult things to teach leaders. How to be reflective. How to think. How to be critical. How to understand what is being presented to you and then making a decision and acting. So be reflective in your leadership style. Okay, you're all looking very tired. Now we have to stand up. You have to stand up. Have to stand up. Stretch. Take a deep breath. It's not what you say that matters as a leader. It's what you do. It's a very common error. I told you to touch your chin. You touched your nose like me. So be careful of your words. People don't listen to your words as leaders. They look at what you do and they will follow you. Okay, so where's your chin? Yeah, right. Develop a reflective mind. Okay, let's see if you remember. Fadal. Al-Wahed. Only the first two tables is talking to me. Naam. Al-Thani. Naam. Right. All of you are reading, I can see. Huh? What is the fourth one? Technical competence. The story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Fifth one. Which was the story of embraced imperfections? Hamza and Uhud. Naam. Sixth one. Clear decision making filters. Whose story? Mu'adh bin Jabal going to Yemen. Naam. What is the next one? Tayyib. Tayyib. Very good. Let's do, I think we got 3 or 4 more and then we'll finish inshallah. Right. You see, this is another interesting story. A very important leadership lesson. This is the 11th surah of the Quran. You know what is the 11th surah called? Quickly, Hud. This is the story of Hud and Nuh and many other prophets. You know what had happened? Don't look at the slide, look at me for now. Follow me, follow me. This is my chin. When Nuh alayhi salam was instructed by Allah to build the ark, because Allah had already determined by then those who were going to follow the message and those who were not. Isn't it? You know the story of Nuh alayhi salam. So he said to Nuh to build the ark, and the matter has been decided between his people. The few that believed will remain believers and the rest are not. So Nuh began to build the ark. And the leaders of the tribes who had rejected his message, every time they would walk past Nuh, as he was building the ark, they would laugh at him. You see, as the ayah says. They would laugh. Aywa. They would laugh at Nuh and say, oh Nuh, what is wrong with you? Why were they laughing at Nuh? Do you know? Why? Everybody heard that. Do you know why they were laughing at Noah? Because Noah lived in an area called the Mesopotamian Basin, which is in modern day Iraq. You know, the Mesopotamian civilization is modern day Iraq. Somewhere there, far away from the ocean. Nuh alayhi salam was building an ark in the middle of the desert. So did these people have some reason to laugh at Nuh? Yeah, it didn't make any sense. They thought Nuh had finally lost his mind. Astaghfirullah. So they were laughing. And what did Nuh do? Stop building? No. Did he say, what is the point? Maybe they have some logic. Maybe I shouldn't build. How will it float? Where's the ocean? How far away? Why didn't Nuh use his logic? Alayhi salam. Why? He was following the instruction of Allah. Build the ark. Tayyib. So Nuh said, if you laugh at me now, we will laugh at you too. So what happened? People continued to laugh. Nuh built the ark. And then Allah says in some parts of the Quran, He opened up the heavens. Subhanallah. And the rains came. And then He asked the groundwater to come up. And as these two waters met, the flood began. And as the levels of the water rose, all those people who were laughing, they stopped laughing. Why? They saw the ark begin to creak and move. Allahu Akbar Kabira. In the middle of the desert, 1,500 kilometers away from the ocean, here is an ark in the middle of the desert that's now beginning to sail. So what is the leadership lesson? Cultivate, you know what cultivate means? Grow. A paradigm, an understanding of submission as leaders. Allah commanded it to be so, and so will it be. Humanity will try to make sense of it. Professor Dawkins will write a book against it, and people will condemn you for it, and you will be laughed at, and the media will talk about it, and you'll have all this pressure. You can't travel, you're Arab, you're non-Arab, you're Saudi, you wear thoba, you're a terrorist, do you have a beard? What is in your turban? Why do you cover the face of the women? Are they under submission or oppression? All of this noise will continue. But as leaders, cultivate this paradigm of submission. As Allah has said, so will it be. Because you know why? The reason is at the bottom. What is your success as an ummah? Your success is not in guaranteeing the outcomes. Your success is in the effort. Can I say that again? Like Noah. His success was not in finding out whether it's going to sail or not. His success is what? Building the ark. You make the effort. You do the da'wah. You fight whatever you have to fight in the media. You can't guarantee the outcomes. That is in Allah's control. You submit and you fulfill your task. Allah will fulfill His bit. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the leadership lesson. Cultivate a paradigm of submission and remember that your effort is what matters to Allah. Not you guaranteeing the outcomes because it's not within your control. That is in Allah's control. What leadership lesson is this? What number? La, 7 or 8? Okay. Should we continue? I will submit to you. Let's go. Let's skip this principle here. Right. This is a picture. Very nice picture. Anybody knows who's that person in the picture? Now. You gave the answer the first time. You heard the answer? Who is this personality in the picture? You didn't hear? Tariq bin Ziyad. You know who Tariq bin Ziyad is? Who is Tariq bin Ziyad? Aywa. Aywa. Tariq bin Ziyad was the general who led the Muslim army from North Africa into Spain, the southern part of France and Portugal, what was called the Iberian Peninsula. And that started the whole civilization that we know today as Andalusia. So that's Tariq bin Ziyad. And you know this mountain over here? What is this mountain? What is that? Not Table Mountain, huh? Aywa. It's called Jabal al-Tariq. It is the mountain of al-Tariq. And you see these little boats at the bottom over there. You know when Tariq bin Ziyad got to the mainland of Spain, he left Africa, crossed over, short distance of the oceans. He got to Spain. When he got to Spain, he said to the army, burn your boats. What a radical decision. He said to the army, burn your boats. And what did the army say to Tariq? They said, oh general, respected general, why? Why should we burn our boats? How are we going to get back to Ard al-Islam? Back to our land? Back to North Africa? Back to the Islamic... Why? How can we burn? He says, burn your boats. And he quoted a nice ayah of the Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna al-arda lillah. Yarithuha man yasha'u min ibadi. All of this land is for Allah. He causes to inherit those among His servants that He wills. So every land is your land. Burn your boats. So what is the leadership lesson? What do you think the leadership lesson is? See, all of us have boats. It's just invisible. You don't see it. It's al-ghaib. It's all the, you know what's in our boats? Culture, language, tradition, preconceptions, our notions of the world, our notions of other people, what we think is possible, what we think is impossible, who will succeed, who will fail. All of these are in our boats. Burn the boat. If you're on a mission, fulfill the mission. Don't try to go back to some things that don't add value to your mission. Be prepared to work with your context. Burn your boats. You understand? This is a metaphorical lesson. It's not a physical lesson. Because our boats are not physical. But there are things in our lives that hold us back. And your leadership requires you to burn that which holds you back. Go forward. Proceed. Look to the morrow. See what you invest in your future. Take people out of misery. Give them the da'wah. Try to build a khayra ummah. Bring people into this khayra ummah. Grow this ummah. Burn the boats that prevent you from doing all of these things. You understand the lesson? What lesson number is this? Let's see how many more we've got. Okay. Since you're very patient, I'm going to take 5 minutes more of your time. Is that okay? Is that okay? It's okay. This is a very beautiful ayah from the 3rd chapter of the Quran. Which is the chapter of the Quran? Al Imran. You know, in the context of the battle of Uhud, when the companions didn't listen to the Prophet ﷺ, the archers left their space. Remember? And you know, we talked about it earlier. What happened? 70 shuhada, etc. This imperfect battle. And the fact that they didn't take his advice and shura seriously, they violated the decision of the Prophet ﷺ. But he still dealt with them gently. As leaders, you have to be mindful of the human relations aspect, even in imperfect situations. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ, and pray for them, pardon them. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ, and consult them. What? After they let you down and they cause all this trauma and all these Sahaba lost their lives and they didn't take instructions? Yes, that is what your leadership requires you to do. Work with the context. Be patient with your people. Have mercy on them. Consult them even when they violate your decision making. Continue to engage with you. And fa'fu anhum, pardon them. Don't bear this vengeance for your people. You will work with people who will let you down, who will disappoint you, who will go against your plan. They may even work against you. Fa'fu anhum, and forgive them. And consult them. Don't exclude people. Include people. Have an inclusive approach, not an exclusive approach. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ did after Uhud. He used an inclusive approach. When he had reason to use the exclusive approach, he still didn't do it. Are you with me? Leadership principle number 10. Now we have to end. Let's see. I'm so tempted to talk about this. This is the Topkapi Palace. You know where that is? Topkapi the Palace. Turkey, Istanbul. This is I took this picture, I was there a few years ago, from the balcony when the person who conquered Istanbul, you know his name? Who conquered Istanbul? Aywa, Muhammad al-Fatih. This is where he planted the flag immediately after the conquest of Istanbul. If you go to Topkapi Palace, you see a little place where the flag used to be, of the first Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. I've taken the picture from there. This is the big river where Sultan Fatih. Maybe I should tell you the story anyway. Can I tell you the story? Okay. Sultan Fatih, you know how old he was when he conquered Istanbul? He was 20 years old. At most 21 years old. 21, not 81. Young leaders are really important. 21. And the history tells us that Sultan Fatih was planning the conquest of Istanbul for at least 5 years. So how old was he?
16.
How many of you are 16 here? How many 16-year-olds here? How many? MashaAllah. We got big hopes for you. Everybody above 16, we got greater hope for you. He planned it from the age of 16. This was in what century? Do you know?
16, I think.
Which century? No, not 16. 12th, 13th century. He was planning it from the age of 16. He conquers what was known, you know, Istanbul. What's the old name for Istanbul? It was called what? Constantinople. It was regarded by the world at that time as the, listen carefully, impregnable capital of the Eastern Roman Christian Empire. You know what impregnable means? What does it mean? It's not defeatable. You can't go through. Impregnable. You can't go through. It was regarded as the impregnable capital of the Eastern Roman Christian Empire. Sultan Fatih, he conquered it at the age of 21. He had built the largest cannonball of the time. So use the technology. If Twitter is going to work for you, faddal. If Facebook is okay, use it. Find the best technology. Use excellence in what you do in your da'wah and in your leadership. So he got the largest cannonball ever built in the 14th century, made by somebody in Greece. It had never been used before. And if you go today to this part of Europe, you'll see the large holes in the old city walls because of these big cannonballs that Sultan Fatih used. And he used a large fleet of boats, but he couldn't conquer Istanbul only from this river. This is called the Bosphorus River. Because Turkey is so large, or the Eastern Roman Empire was so large, or Constantinople was so large, he needed to come across land. So how do you take boats across land? So he told his army, you will build large wooden boards, and you will grease it with fat. And then you will slide these boats over those boards until you get to the center of Constantinople. Over dry land.
To make it short.
Aywa. But how do you move a boat over dry land? Impregnable capital. His mission was to defeat it. And he went all out to use the best technology and his technical competence in getting the boats over land so that Constantinople was conquered. And this is the point where he planted his flag. So what is the leadership lesson here? We're using this from strategy.
Yeah.
Set, stretch objectives. You know what it means? Don't set the bar low. If you can jump this high, why should you jump this low? Set the bar high. Put stretch into your objectives. If you can do X plus Y, don't do X only. Add the Y to it. Continue to challenge yourself and your team to say, is this the best I can do? Is this ihsan? What does ihsan mean? Excellence. Is this the best? With the resources available, can we do more? Set stretch in your objectives. What leadership principle is this? Some of you are at 8, others are at 9. Some of you are at 10, others at 11. Tayyib, 11th one. I think we have to stop here. Let's see the pictures. I'll show you what I couldn't do. Beautiful ayah, subhanallah. We couldn't do this one. Keep your eye on the prize. Allah is going to give you a special light on the day of Qiyamah. يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم بشراكم اليوم. Good news will be given to you on the day of Qiyamah. What gardens? جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. That is the great victory. So what are you planning for? Not this world. You are planning for فوز العظيم. Set your sights high and keep your eye on the prize. Be patient. واصبر على ما يقولون واهجرهم هجرا جميلا. Don't just leave them. Leave them in a beautiful way. So if people trouble you and they frustrate your plan for da'wah, don't say, get out. Leave me alone. هجرهم واهجرهم هجرا جميلا. In a beautiful way. With grace and dignity. Walk away from people. وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. When the ignorant approach you, don't fight with them. Salama. These are the leadership principles that Western leadership theory will not teach you, but that you will need to use in your da'wah. I promise you, this is my last slide. I promise you, envision success is the last principle we will talk about. We won't do any more. You know when Sayyidina Abu Bakr and the Prophet ﷺ were leaving Mecca during the Hijrah, and they hid in a cave. What is the cave called? Ghar al-Thawr. Naam. They stayed there, you know, for their strategic plan. They went south instead of going north to Medina. They went south, they stayed in the cave, they got some information. The son of Abu Bakr used to bring some food, or the daughter used to bring food. The son used to listen to the story, come and tell them, and bring the animals to graze over the footprint. Beautiful strategic plan in the seerah. Finally, they leave the cave on the 3rd day, and they are proceeding along the Red Sea route, which is not normally traveled by the Quraysh, isn't it? So a route that was untraveled. They took with them a guide. Who was the guide? La? La? Who was the guide? La Abdullah bin Uraykit. He takes a guide, not a believer. He takes a guide with him who knew the route very well. See, technical competence. You need to recognize it even in other people. So he goes along, and suddenly he finds one person has tracked their footprints on the desert sand. Who was it? Suraka. And Suraka can see at the distance the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr, and the guide. Now he knows 100 camels is his. That was the booty. So he beats his horse. What happens? Stumbles and falls. Wakes up and beats it again. What happens? Stumbles and falls. Third time, when the horse fell, and of course Suraka was very, at that time, superstitious. He said, there's an evil omen. I'm not meant to catch this man. So he calls out to the Prophet ﷺ. And what does the Prophet ﷺ do? Here is the captor. He is the enemy. He's about to be killed possibly. The entire mission is at stake. Who is the Prophet ﷺ? He has been exiled from his land. He is going to another land. He is a refugee, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He is an exile. He's got no Islamic state, no army. Can you understand the situation? How critical was this moment in the seerah? So what does he do when Suraka calls? He doesn't beat his horse faster to run away. What does he do? He stops. And he's prepared to have a discussion with his captor. And the captor wants to know, tell me about you. I'm paraphrasing the seerah. And what does the Prophet say to this captor? What did he say to Suraka? He said to Suraka, "Oh Suraka, how will you feel when we conquer Persia? And we will put the gold bracelets of the Emperor of Persia on you. And we will put you to sit on the throne of the Emperor of Persia. How will you feel, O Suraka?" What kind of language is this? Persia was the superpower of the time. And here is a man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's got no army, no state, no dignity, he's a refugee, and he's promising to Suraka what? The golden bracelets of the Emperor of Persia. Subhanallah, subhanallah. Envision success as leaders. That's the leadership principle. Envision success. Whatever your condition is today, have strategic intent. Where would you like to be? Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. And focus yourself on that vision. For what happened with Persia? Was it conquered? Yes. By whom? During whose khilafah? Umar. And was this vision fulfilled for Suraka? Yes, absolutely. But it was done at the lowest moment of the seerah, when the Prophet ﷺ was between two lands and had no home. Envision success. Work for it. Now if I had to ask you, and I'm not going to ask you to do this, to fulfill and complete that sentence, you remember that sentence at the beginning? Leadership means what? Now you're going to give me a very different answer, would you? Maybe a longer answer. Possibly? Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Hal jaza'ul ihsan illa al ihsan. And Allah is telling you that if you are excellent, the outcome will not only be excellent in the hereafter, but even the outcome of your plan and things that will automatically be excellent. So these are... yes, okay. So excellence is something that is ingrained in our this thing, or it's just that somehow we have forgotten it somewhere along the line. As Ahmed has said that, okay, if there are any questions that people would want to ask, they're welcome.
I understood the brother correctly. What is our experience in South Africa as a minority? The vast majority of the people around us don't share our faith. How do you deal with them? How do you liaise and relate to them? How do you work with them? How do you live with them, etc.? Did I understand you correctly? So brothers, very briefly, because I know you're tired, the interesting experience in South Africa is that this is a really small Muslim community. But many foreigners tell us we have a majority status. You travel throughout South Africa, you'll see many masajid, and you will see halal food is available, and there is freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of worship. You can give adhan loudly, you can build a masjid, you can wear niqab and hijab, and you can demand halal food. Every airport in the country has a musalla. You can perform salah wherever you want, at any place and any time you want. And we thank Allah that we have this situation in this country. But it didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. We built this democracy as a liberal democracy, as a free democracy, where every faith has an equal opportunity to express itself. And you can't do this if you have any superiority complex. You know how sometimes the Yahud, they regard themselves as the chosen people. You know this thinking. We are the chosen and the rest are frozen. Can't have this attitude. You have a responsibility. What? خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You have a leadership responsibility for mankind. So when you work in a community, work in everybody's interests. Tie your success to other communities' successes. Build civil society, build community structures, work for the development of communities around you, irrespective of their faith, irrespective of their persuasion. Work to bring, it's like a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said that the believers are like rain. Are like rain. What is rain in Arabic? Matar. Are like rain. They spread blessings wherever they go. You see the rain, it doesn't fall in specific homes or specific lands or specific farms. No, it falls everywhere. So be like rain. Wherever you go, you take blessing with you so that your communities can welcome you. You know, when Umar bin Khattab, when he was called to battle in the northern part of the Sham region during his Khilafat, and the Muslim army was in Palestine, and he asked the Muslim army to move to the northern part of Al-Sham because there was a mission there was a threat. And he said to the army, listen carefully, he said to the army, all the non-Muslim residents of Palestine who paid you the jizya. What is the jizya? The tax. He says, pay the jizya back to them. They said, why, O Amir? He said, because you will not be in the land to protect them anymore. You know what the jizya is for? He says, pay back the jizya as you leave Palestine. And as the Muslim army left Palestine and they paid back the jizya to the non-Muslim residents, the residents cried. The non-Muslim residents of Palestine had no power to ask for the jizya to be paid. But the Muslim army paid it because of its amana. It was not there to protect them. Paid back the jizya, and the army cried. And the residents cried of Palestine as the Muslim army left. Why? They saw their protection leaving. They saw their integrity going away. They were now open to attack. This is the purpose of the Ummah. To bring goodness and to bring khair to the people that you live and work with. I hope, inshallah, this short answer helps.
We are the Muslim Ummah.
Alhamdulillah, 1 in 5 people in the world is a Muslim. But have we considered that 4 out of 5 people may die without Islam? 4 out of 5 may never get the chance to read the glorious Holy Quran. Become a lifetime partner with the Islamic Propagation Center International Dawah Quran Project and help bring real solutions to the 4 out of 5 people searching for answers. By sponsoring a Holy Quran, you give the gift of life, real life. IPCI, Dawah Quran Project. It's time to get involved.
Call IPCI now. IPCI, encircling the globe with the message of Islam.